gentlemen, welcome to episode 3 of Before the Fight. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Shotgun Shannon O'Connell, Gareth Williams. Huge show on the weekend, straight out of ISO, held by Ace Boxing Promotions. Massive main event, Benny Kite, Tyson Best. We should probably start off there, but there's no better person to talk to about that than the Australasian and Australian champion, Banging Benny Kite. Benny, how are you, mate?
Very good, mate. Thanks very much for having me. Very excited to be here.
Huge fight.
Yeah, big fight. A good show to fight on. Tyson Best was a tough boy, but we sort of stuck in, bit down hard on our mouth guard, stuck in and got the job done at the end of the day. So very pleased.
Tyson's from North Queensland, isn't he, Tyson, I think?
I think he
originally?
is, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mate, I remember his first professional fight against Liam Hutchinson, who wasn't a bad pro himself, and yeah, he beat Liam that day, and Liam had probably had nearly 9 fights, and he beat him. I always knew he was going to be one to watch. He was a tough kid, eh?
Yeah, I think if you have a look at his record, he's beaten a few good boys. He beat that Blake Travis boy as well, who I think is one of the better ones out of those boys, and there's a couple of good ones on his resume.
So who was, what sort of sparring partners did you have for him? I know it's hard at the moment, not everyone's training, it's crazy, isn't it?
It's been hard to get sparring. Been sparring a lot with Steve Sparks from Toowoomba, who's extremely sharp. We get some really good rounds in. And then just heaps of lots of different sparring from different boys around the traps where we can get him in and that. So it's...
What did you take away from sparring with Stevie Sparks? Obviously a good boy out of Toowoomba.
Yeah, mate, Steve's great. We've been sparring together for a long time. I think we're both each other's first good hard sparring partners from 3 or 4 years ago now. He's been great. He's always super sharp. He's always on form. It's been really good for both of us, I think, because we've both progressed together through camps. We've always got fights around the same time, so we're always getting plenty of rounds in and doing plenty of good work.
I've watched a lot of their sparring as well, and it's exciting because it's tit for tat. If one of them are having a bad day, the other one's got it all over them, and vice versa, and it can go round for round as well.
Just going back to the fight there, so Tyson Best... relatively inexperienced as far as numbers of fights, I'm guessing. Do you know how many he's had?
I think before we fought, he was 12 wins and 1 loss.
Oh, so that's not too bad then.
Yeah.
So that's good. But yeah, I knew he was a very strong boy. I did tip you to win. I just thought your strength would be more than his, but he's definitely one for the future as well. He'll get that Australian belt in a couple of years' time anyway.
Yeah, I think he still has a good career ahead of him. There's no rush for him to hang up the gloves yet, I don't think.
So what was the plan? Now you can say it, the fight's over. What was your plan going into?
I'd say I probably didn't quite stick to the plan, but
No, not at all. Didn't have a jab in you.
We were planning to box and move quite a bit. I think was sort of what the boys wanted me to do. You know, my feet have come a long way in this last camp, and they wanted me to move and make sort of easier work of it. But once we got in there, I felt the need to sort of fight it out, and so that's.
Is it fair to say, using the cliche Tyson, everyone's got a plan till they get punched in the face? You got clipped early, and it was a square shot. Yeah. Now you did really well to compose and come back from that. But did that change the game plan? Did that change the structure of the fight? Is that why you were moving in and sitting on his chest a bit more?
I felt like I got clipped early. I felt like I could have gone back to what the boys wanted me to do. It didn't worry me, the shot afterwards. I was fine straight after, but I definitely felt I felt in control. Doing fighting for me is a bit more what comes natural. Putting in the hard yards and putting in the work is what comes natural to me, and I felt more comfortable doing that. So
Stevie calls it how he sees it. Shout out to Stevie and Luke, big fans of the show. He said that you went against the plan, but in saying that, you stuck to basics. You dug deep, your work rate went up, you mixed your high and low punches, and it just seemed that you just out-muscled him after that.
Yeah, the boys work so hard with me in every session. It's all hard work. There's no easy days. There's no days off. I could have done another 20, 30 rounds after that. The boys have got me in that fine form every camp to make sure that I can. So
I need to butt in there. That is Not true. Benny does extra stuff. We all do the same training. Benny does extra stuff. And everyone's like, what is he doing? He's a mental case.
You love getting
That's
partnered
Benny.
up with him, don't you?
Hate it. As soon as when you walk into the gym and you're partnered up with Benny, you're like, shit.
Shotgun trains pretty hard herself.
But G, fair to say that's very good character building for a fighter, you know, having to get clipped and then, you know, stick to a basic work rate plan and fight your way out of that against the numbers early in the fight.
Man, that's credit to your fitness, you know, like if you do the extras and you do the hard work, you know you're going to recover better. Can I ask you a few questions? I wouldn't mind going into the backstory of Benny Kite.
Go.
To be honest, I don't know much about you other than boxing. So where did you start? Where were you born? What got you to this point here?
So I grew up in Cairns. I was born in Port Macquarie in New South Wales and then moved to Cairns when I was quite young. I started boxing when I was 13, 14. I just sort of fell into the sport. I did karate when I was really little.
Was never in the family or anything like that?
No, it was never in the family. I did karate when I was really little, and the gym that I was at closed down, and went to a PCYC to start at another club and met a boxing coach. And he told me to come along, and I did, and loved it, and got the boxing bug, I guess.
Going back to the fight, what was your takeaway from it for yourself personally?
Look, I think it definitely shows not just to myself but to everyone that no matter what, like I can stand there and punch on for 10 rounds. So that was a big tell. I think going from it and learning and looking to improve would definitely be trying to stick to the game plan.
Mate, still a lot of positives, but you dug deep. You got yourself out of the hole.
At the end of the day, you know, we dug deep. We got the job done. I don't believe that there's any welterweight in the country anyway that can outwork me. So,
good call.
Okay.
And look, all credit to Tyson Best. He showed up, and you know, great camp, great team. He was moving in and out with Tim Zoo. He got some great rounds. You know, and a good quality corner there with Steve NG and Matrix. But he came out and honestly said, you know, on his social medias that you were the better boy on the day.
Yeah, mate. I haven't had a chance to have a chat to him or anything, but he seems like a decent enough fella from all the things that I've heard him say, and he definitely turned up to fight on the night. You know, I feel like we both took some good shots, but he was in it the whole way through. He didn't give up at all, and it ended up being a great fight.
I think Ben's one of the strongest welterweights I've seen too. He's very, like when I've seen boys spar him, he's just got this body strength and he sits himself well, and he's really hard to shift around, and that plus the big motor that you've got, I think that's a massive asset. So nothing worse than standing on somebody that won't move. Stand in front of you with somebody that won't move, and you know, you think that's those fights that you think you're ready for until round 6, and you know you're not ready.
Now, just for the people at home, I'm going to get you to clear this one up. How important is it for great fighters not to worry about having an L on the record? I mean, you've got a few, and now look at the title belts that you're both holding.
Yeah, for sure. I lost my second fight. Like, and you know, people get so disheartened because it's all about having a zero, but it opened opportunities for me. And being a girl, you have to take risks. But yeah, no, definitely I don't worry about losses.
I think
I'd rather get in there and have a crack, get knocked out swinging, than not get in there at all.
It really deflates the young boxers coming through if they'd have had a couple of losses, because I can't be great because Golovkin only had 2 losses out of 300, and so did Lomachenko. Mate, the part of getting there is half the losses along the way. You know, you've got to overcome those. You know. Yeah.
Benny, thanks for being on the show. Again, another quality fight. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, try and find a copy of it somewhere. A great promotion, a great night. But look, mate, well done.
Thank you very much for having me, and I look forward to the big fights in the future.
I'm Matt Rose, and you're watching Before the Fight.
I'm Tim Zoo, and you're watching Before the Fight.
So thanks to Benny Kite for being on the show. Great story there about the weekend, but looking toward what's coming up, Jai Opetaia.
Hey mate, how are you?
Mate, good, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Now, clear up for all the punters and everybody at home. How do we pronounce the surname?
Opetaia.
Opetaia.
Yeah.
We've got a fight coming up in how many weeks?
We're just over 6 weeks, so yeah, looking forward to it, man.
And who are you looking to fight?
I'm trying to fight Ben Kelleher. We haven't signed the papers yet, but yeah, he's you know, they're trying to lock it in.
And there was a little bit of... Didn't he get injured in your last fight?
Yeah,
You've already had
it's a
fight?
rematch. He broke his hand in the 3rd round, and then yeah. So I feel like we've got some unfinished business. So I'm looking at winning properly.
Mate, it's great for Queensland to have it up here too. It's good for us to have that fight.
Mate, it's going to be amazing. But off the back of that, the reason why he's getting the rematch is because he did break his hand, yeah, and you very nobly offered it to him straight away off the back of that condition.
Yeah. Well, I definitely didn't feel comfortable with the way I won, so you know, I'm looking forward to winning properly. And I know he's made a few excuses about the hand and stuff, so be good to get it properly.
I've been watching Jai since he was young, since he's probably about 15 years old. 2011, he was one of the... We had 2 Australian world champions back then as a junior. Were you 15?
Yeah, 15
years old. Mate, I remember sitting over in Kazakhstan watching Jai. Just he had, like all the good footballers, they have time with the ball in their hand. Jai just had time, and I think he's still got that that experience. He's southpaw. He only throws the punches when he knows he's going to land them. And mate, how was that experience back then? It was great for a young fella.
Yeah, that was actually my first international experience to go over the World Championships and that. First time I met you, it was awesome, eh? And it was a huge sort of confidence boost as well, you know, like just being a little kid from the Central Coast, going overseas, fighting the best in the world, and I felt like I sort of not cruised through it, but I felt so comfortable in every sort of fight, and you know, it was awesome. It was a mad feeling. So.
Mate, you were the leader over there, and like obviously Clay Waterman won as well.
Yeah.
46 kilo. Clay is definitely not 46 kilo. But mate, that's what I just remember from early days. That you were magnificent. Your southpaw stance, like I said before, it's like you've always got time, and you fight exactly the same. I've seen a few of your fights here. Obviously, haven't been in New South Wales when you fight, but I've seen a few of your fights, and I don't think your style's changed too much from the amateurs. You never had a real amateur style, but your style always worked for you. And I remember, I think you said when you were 16, you were sparring like people like Danny Green and people like that, weren't you, when you were a young fella?
Well, I come from a boxing family, so I think it's just, you know, it's all I sort of ever did. So I think I grew up sparring adults all the time, even when I was younger. You know what I mean? So I don't know, it's just sort of something that sort of comes natural to me.
So you're never fazed by stepping up and then, you know, working with adults when you're a bit older?
I just felt comfortable. As soon as I walk in the ring, it's just that's the one place where I sort of feel like this is my ring. So.
Yeah, nice.
Now, this is a joint promotion, Tasman Fighters. Big shout out to Mick Francis and DNL.
Yeah, well, I'm signed with the promotion deal with DNL. So.
Mate, big team to have in the corner.
Yeah, awesome, man. Yeah. I feel like, you know, they've even proven what they can do with the, you know, Jeff Horn and stuff like that. So I look forward to the future. Eh? All I got to do is keep winning.
I've said a few times. I think I said it a couple of weeks ago on the show.
Last week on the show, you said.
Last week on the show, that Jai is, in my eyes, the legitimate closest Australian to the World Championship. I honestly think he's right up there and even above the current cruiserweight champions in the world. I just think he's got the X factor. He's got something else, and a southpaw as well. No one likes to fight a southpaw anyway. But he can whack, he can punch, he can box, he can move, and he doesn't get phased. He's got this undenying self-belief. Am I right? You don't think you can lose? And as a fighter, it's the best thing to have.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Me,
Appreciate
Gareth,
that.
Before the fights, ass liquor.
You just stay with a shot. This is for Shannon O'Connell.
Against Ben Kelleher, where do you think you're stronger?
Man, I just want to give him a complete boxing lesson, to be honest, eh?
Put on a clinic?
Oh, I'm really looking forward to it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, I can't wait.
I love the passion.
Yeah, he's keen.
Yeah.
He's fired up. It's good to see. And that's what we want to see, you know. You want to see these boys fired up, ready, and then we let them off the leash and they put on a great show and performance, you know. They've done the hard work. We bring them on the show so they can be heard and not just seen. Yeah, and I think this is great for boxing. And, mate, I agree with G. I think, you know, you've got a really promising career ahead of you and we need to help push that along. And off the back of this Ben Kelleher fight, not looking past that, there's talks of possibly David Light.
Yeah, David Light's been floating around for a while. I'd love to fight him, mate. He's actually gave me my last ever loss in Australia. So when I was an amateur. And then but I versed him again to go to the Olympic Games. And I beat him there. So I beat him where it counted. But, you know, we were 1-1 and yeah, I look forward to fighting him, mate. And I know he's a tough dude. You know, he's a nice guy, but you know, to move on for those world titles, I feel like he's definitely a fight that needs to happen.
Mate, speaking of the Olympic Games, you're Australia's youngest ever Olympian, 17 years old. And I think you actually qualified at 16 years
Yeah,
old.
qualified at 16.
Wow.
Mate, you're not even allowed to do that anymore.
Wow.
Like, you have to be 18 now to go to the Olympic Games. Mate, we were just speaking before. Amir Khan won a silver medal at 17 years old, but at the Olympics, when the Olympics started, I think you said you were 17 years old in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Somebody needs to do some research. That's got to be the youngest, could be the youngest Olympian ever.
yeah. I've tried to Google it a few times, but I couldn't find it. But I tried to see if I was the actual youngest Olympic boxer in history, but.
There's also another guy, I'm not sure if many people know him, Cassius Clay. He went to the Olympics at a similar age too, but
he won gold. That's unheard of.
But you've had some.
He threw it away.
You've had some great milestones. First world champion as a 15-year-old, Olympian at 17 years old. Did you turn pro straight away after that?
No, I went to Commonwealth Games as well.
Oh yes, Delhi.
Yeah. And then, no, not Delhi. We went to Glasgow.
Glasgow,
Scotland.
Andrew Maloney.
Yeah.
He got the gold there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was an awesome experience as well. All those sort of international experiences and stuff like that really helped me sort of, as I turned pro, you know, having all those international all the international training camps and sparring sort of really moulded me for my pro career. So,
Look, off the back of that, speaking to Mick this morning from Tasman Fighters, and again, like we spoke about with DNL Promotions, you've got the right team, you know, in the corner. Now you've made the transition up to Queensland. Go Queensland. And we know you're enjoying that, because you and I have a bit of back and forth about the Queensland and the New South Wales. You stuck it to me in Townsville. But are you settled? Are you happy? Are you feeling you getting back into your groove now?
Man, I am a bit homesick. You know, I'm really close with my family. I miss my partner and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm here for a job. And the best thing is I'm here in Queensland. I'm only allowed to fight Queenslanders, so I'm here to bash Queenslanders. So, you know, I'm here for business, and, you know, when I get home, it'll all be worth it. So
yeah, I told you. Mate, with that, but with the family at home, and, you know, coming up obviously with Taps, you know, who's in the crowd now watching, you've got a bit of support there. But like you said, you're using this to fuel the fire.
Yeah, definitely. I'm here for a job, so, you know. You got to do what you got to do.
And when you are going without, you've got more reason, you've got more purpose to work hard and to win in a fashionable style. 100%.
And it's treated more like a training camp as well. You know what I mean? Because, like, you're taken away from your family and you're here to do a job, so everything's more serious. So it's good in a way, but, you know.
Have we got a venue for the fight that's coming up?
It's in Brisbane somewhere. I'm not 100% sure.
Fortitude Music Hall.
Yeah,
so.
that's
Taps,
it.
Fortitude Music Hall. That's right. Fortitude Music
That's a
Hall
nice
confirmed.
venue, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
Steve had one there.
Yeah, just after they revamped it all. It was nice.
Yeah. Now, all jokes aside, between Queensland and New South Wales, obviously us being the better state. No, how good is it to be able to make the transition, have the team get you out of New South Wales when let's be honest, the shit hit the fan, you know, and be able to get up here with opportunity?
Oh man, I'm just happy to be fighting. Like in where I'm from on Central Coast, the COVID stuff was bad. I couldn't really travel to Sydney because if I travelled to Sydney, I couldn't come over here. So it was pretty red hot. So it was good I got up here, you know, just in time. They rang me 2 days before I left and said, you're coming to Queensland. And now I've been here ever since. I've been here for about 5 weeks, and I'll probably be here till December. So got a long time, but.
And do you have better sparring up here than you do down there?
Well, I usually do come up sparring for with Justice and stuff like that, and I go down to Melbourne as well. So, but at home, if I was to stay at home, I wouldn't have had much sparring. So it is working well. So.
Who are you sparring in Melbourne?
We just go down when we spar. Like his name's Pete and stuff. There's like a big gym. They just.
It's got lots of big guys.
They just chuck. They chuck me in and they give me 2 rounds of everyone. So everyone just tries to take my head off. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, but you know they do. They want to have a shot. They want to prove themselves, which makes for the best sparring opponent.
Yeah, no, it's good, man. Especially those Pacific Islanders, they love to get in there and before sparring, oh, Jai, nice to meet you, nice to meet you. And then when we're in the ring, bro, they got no mercy, eh? So it's good, but it's how you grow.
Who's going to be the top dog?
Yeah, that's it.
Look, I'm just going to say it. We understand that what you sacrificed to come here, but we're going to make the most out of having you here in Queensland. I think he's a great asset while we've got him here for all boxing, for all the gyms, and we're definitely going to have him on the show as much as possible.
Jay, you guys have got a really good stable with Tasman fighters. You've got Liam Wilson, Justice Hooney. How does it feel to have such a good team around you?
Yeah, it feels awesome, eh? Tasman Fighters is a real awesome crew to be around, eh? They do what they can for us, so I reckon it's good that we surrounded ourselves in a good team. We got good fighters involved, so our team's only small, but I reckon it's going to be very effective. So
yeah, for sure.
And Mick Francis has the right passion for the sport. He wants to show not just his fighters, but fighters in the best light possible, just like we are trying to hear on the show. But he's genuinely passionate about bringing the best fights to Australian for Australian fighters.
Yeah, definitely, man. I vouch for Mick. I reckon he's an awesome dude, and he's not my manager. He's like family to me. So and it's awesome to be on this journey with family. So it's good.
Yeah. Well, I even know, like, seeing what he did with Justice in the amateurs, like paying for opponents to come up at amateur tournaments. It was huge. Like, every kid in the at Golden Gloves and things like that, when he's done it, every kid was just in awe watching Justice fight.
And you rate Justice?
I rate Justice very high, man. He's definitely one of the people to keep an eye out for. He's some of the hardest sparring I get, and I've been all over the world, and he's very difficult to spar, but it's good because he sharpens me up real good, so it's awesome.
Jai, Opetaia, thanks for being on the show, mate. We're going to get you on 4 weeks out from your fight. We won't bring you in any closer to that because you have to focus on the fight.
Yep.
But 4 weeks out from the fight, mate, you're going to be back in the chair talking to us about how you're feeling in the weight cut and the camp so far.
Too easy.
Thanks for being on the show, mate.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
I'm Waylon Loy, and you're watching Before the Fight. Cheers.
I'm Angelo DiCarlo, and you're watching Before the Fight.
So the main talking point is Ace Promotions on the weekend and their fight straight out of ISO. A split card, having the before dark during the day from 12 o'clock lunchtime to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then having to do the COVID clean to bring out the after dark from 6:45 they open the doors through to about 11 o'clock at night. A different concept, but one that you have to tip to Angelo DiCarlo and Ace Boxing. It worked.
Mate, it's good to see people doing what they have to do just to keep it alive. I think Ange could only have 500 seated in there. I think that was
496.
And mate, is that what it was? Yeah. So 500-ish. But if all those guys were on one card, which they would be a lot of times, maybe 10 fights on one card, mate, they would have sold 2,000 tickets, those guys. So it was good that, I know I tried to get tickets a few weeks before for a few people, but no, they were all sold out. So good on them for selling it out and keeping the sport going. Yeah, we tried to get tickets, even seats at a table, and couldn't get them.
Ellie Bliss Reynolds, Beck Hawker.
Mate, that was a cracking fight, especially Beck's first professional fight. She's very experienced as an amateur. She's been around for many years as an amateur, and she's fought 3-3. So the thing is, transitioning into 2-minute rounds for the girls and amateurs, not that hard, I don't think, especially when they do 6 rounds even from 3-3s. They do 6 2-minute rounds and then from 3-3s. I don't think the transition's as much as it is for the men doing 6-3s. You understand?
No, I think because women fight intensely anyway. Like, I mean, all this talk about going from 2s to 3s, if you put me in a 3-minute round fight, I'd still fight the same as I do in a 2. So I don't think it's that much harder. It's probably obviously easier because you're cutting down the time rather than adding
another break, don't you?
Yeah.
But mate, that was a cracking fight. That was really good. I watched it on the stream there. From what I could see, they were both having very good moments. Beck was probably a little bit longer, a little bit taller, probably a little bit more experienced in the boxing ring. I know not in the professional ring, but generally, I think that's what showed through. And she's a strong kid. He's Beck too. She's very strong and good size.
I've sparred them both. I sparred them both quite a bit. Well, I've been sparring Ellie for the last year, and I've sparred Beck on and off for a few years. But I did a lot of rounds with Beck before my last fight, and I knew it was going to be a tough ask for Ellie. But I'm sure she's got heart, so she's going to go far.
And you mentioned that maybe Kylie Fulmore might be a bit small for her, but still a good fight.
I think Kylie and Ellie would be a great fight.
Oh.
I think she's a bit small for Beck, but Ellie's got that determination and the pressure. I think that those two, I think, would make a great fight.
Put you on the spot. Who wins it?
Don't know. I don't know. That's
Really?
what I think
It's
makes it a
really
good fight.
good. Yeah,
Like
nice.
that, I don't know. That's what I think makes it a great fight. Is you don't know the winner.
Yeah.
Taylor Robinson called her out.
The thing is with Taylor, she's actually a flyweight. Like she boxed at the World Championships and Commonwealth Games as a 51 kilo fighter. So, like, I know Beck's a lot bigger than Taylor. You know,
Yeah.
like that's not going to happen. If Ellie can come down, maybe could she squeeze down a bit?
Oh, I think Ellie would make a good bantamweight fighter.
Like
I probably would take her
53-ish.
any lighter than that.
Yeah.
Look, a great fight. From there, we had Declan Kelly versus Matt Hartman. Range was the decider on that fight.
Mate, that was a cracking fight. I was surprised, didn't know much about Declan. I know Matt Hartman, seen him around the traps a few times, and I know he's a solid kid, but Declan was awkward, long, rangy, doesn't look like a boxer, but still hit him with some really awkward, really good shots. That was a really, really good fight, and again, rematch worthy as well. So I thought it was a good show. The before dark.
Before Dark, yeah, the Before Dark was a great show. And Matt had a plan. He spoke about that at the press conference to try and cut him off and sit on his chest. But I think Declan moved off the back foot and returned fire. He'd measured with the jab, and then he'd return fire with the uppercut coming up between the high guard. And he'd move off that to the left hook, and that just seemed to be the answer every time.
Mate, he was very good. He was that uppercut that he kept hitting him with was a cracker. It was on the money all the time. But and that's the thing when you're like Matt Hartman, a little bit more compact, happy to walk forward. But then, you know, when you keep walking forward and you get hit with those uppercuts and those long rangey shots as well. Mate, it was a good fight. It was a really good fight, competitive. I honestly thought Matt Hartman would win that, probably because I hadn't seen much of Declan before. But good on him, mate. He stood up and put his hand up.
3 Queensland belts on the Before Dark show. I think it made it for a strong, event. If you're going to have a Before Dark event, I think 3 Queensland titles is going to, make it really nice.
Both events were worthy of, they were both worthy cards, you know. But
I like that there was the Queensland titles on the first one, the Australian titles on the second one. It sort of was a good build-up.
Built it up, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we wrap from there and we go straight into After Dark.
So we go to the first fight on the card, which was Billy Holland and James Langridge. Really good fight. Mate, James hasn't got the world's best record, but every single fight he comes to fight.
Just watching the clip, he's much better than his record shows. I know Billy from the amateurs. One of my boys fought him 3 or 4 times, and it was always a hard fight. Billy's tough.
He's been 6 years with Smithy's gym under the guidance of Brendan Smith, so seems like he's doing good stuff out of there. Ethan Law looked the goods. Very, strong win first round against an opponent that's, been in there and done the business with, a couple of bigger names. But Ethan, very sharp, very strong. Great body shot.
And I think one of the good things I think with Ethan Law is, they were getting bored in the amateurs and not training as hard, not having the motivation, just getting in there and fighting when they weren't probably ready. And turning them pro has it seems like it's really given them a new thing.
Yeah, Luke Medini, good future, big puncher. Southpaw, sort of gauges his distance very well.
He's a beast. I watched him fight Zach from Stretton, and seeing the two get in the ring, you were just like, whoa, what is going on here?
Can I ask you to say Zach's last name?
Nah.
Bagikalupo, thank you.
This is Zach.
Again, a decent stable. Frankie Piento's working with a few people, Beck Hawker, and it seems like that they're developing at Eastside, into a great little gym.
Yeah, Abdul as well.
Abdul.
Again, I won't try his last name. But
now, he fought Japs, and Japs threw 40 overhand rights and landed one of them. But before that, Abdul looked clinical, he looked classy, he boxed outside and inside, and he looked great. He looked the goods.
Yeah, mate, he's a really good boxer.
Good friends with Faris.
Yep, I know he's a Frenchman. Don't know how long he's been here, but that was his first professional fight. Mate, I've seen him, ringside through sparring and everything, and he's good. He's got good skills, got a good jab. He's very tall. He's a massive super middleweight too.
What about the Waylon Law-Justin Frost fight? What a cracker. That was so entertaining. I love Waylon Law. I have for years, love watching him fight. Probably all the way back to his fight with Nathaniel May. Love watching him. But yeah, I watched it on the live stream, so I felt like you couldn't really see much of anything, but he seemed like the more dominant fighter. Not sure what it was like live though.
Absolutely. Gee, it was a great fight. I think a great matchup as well. Justin Frost, Waylon Law. A classic difference in styles. And Waylon Law, I think, just a bit flashier and answered every question that Justin kind of had through the middle rounds a little bit, which edged him out in a tough fight.
Yeah, Frosty, very strong boxer too. Walking forward, hands high, a little bit of body movement, and I thought it'd just wear Waylon down over the rounds, but obviously it didn't. It was a good fight. Waylon, very skilled. He's from a good family of boxers as well. Obviously Ethan was on the show as well. Former good amateur boxer Campbell Cobb O'Reilly. They're all cousins, and mate, they had a good upbringing together. But yeah, great fight.
Tyson Best, Benny Kite.
As much as like people say Benny didn't stick to the game plan, I also think, like just watching that small clip there, you could see Tyson Best wanted to fight back. Like he was falling into Benny's fight. So maybe, I don't know if Stephen G telling him to get on your jab, box, keep him off. I know that that's hard to do when someone's running at you, but I think that Tyson Best didn't fight his best fight either. Like, he wanted to fight. There was times where they got break and Tyson was the first one to come in. So he wanted to fight.
Guys, a massive show. Last week's show, a great show. The week before that, Glenn Rushton, Phil Austin. This show's been amazing. Make sure you subscribe to beforethefight.com. Check out all the interviews and current content that's up at the moment. You're watching Before the Fight.